Hello viewers, welcome back to GP Pod. My name is Dr. Zulkarnain Ahmed. I'm a GP partner, trainer and a coach. And in this episode of GP Pod, we're going to be talking about GP partnership. My GP friends always ask me, what is the actual difference between a GP partner and a salaried GP or a locum GP? So in this episode, we'll be talking particularly about that and the role of a GP partner and what do they actually do. I've got to admit, in the GP training, there is not much emphasis on much beyond your clinical competencies, and you're always chasing your tail about either the exams or the portfolio, or this procedure you need to do, that procedure you need to do, the CBDs and the mini-caxes and all of that. And I do admit it's quite a lot to do. However, I think it's also important for us to look beyond the GP training and what you're going to do, what your sort of hopes and dreams are, and what do you want to achieve. And if you want to know more about the GP partnership and what do GP partners actually do, please stay tuned. I have a confession to make. I've been a GP partner for 2.5 years now, and before that worked as a salaried GP, and before that worked as a GP locum for over 5 years. So I do have a good grip of knowledge and what actually goes on in those roles. So particularly as a locum GP, you go in, you got your clinic, you see your patients, you do your admin, and there might be some visits if you are contracted to do the visits, and then you do the afternoon clinic and then you go home. If you are a long-term locum, then you might be doing a little bit more than that, and you might be taking part in some shared clinical admin, and then you might be attending some meetings. Similarly, in a salaried GP role, you probably have a clinic in the morning, you probably have some visits in the afternoon, and then you've got your afternoon clinic. And in addition to that, you might have your clinical admin and also your letters, hospital letters, hospital pathology, document, etc. But as a GP partner, you will do all of that. So you'll have a clinic in the morning usually, and then you might or might not have visits depending upon your day, and then in the afternoon you'll have a clinic. So you've got all this role. The clinical roles are almost exactly the same, with obviously slight tweaks depending upon what surgery you're working in and which members of the team are in, and then you might have some days when you'll be on call GP, which might mean you either triaging or you're seeing patients as well as triaging and supporting your wider primary care team. In my view, the biggest difference between a GP partner and a salaried or a locum role is that you become from an employee to an employer, and that is a transition, and that needs a big mindset change, and we'll talk about that change. Now that you become an employer, you need to think like an employer, and you need to act like an employer. So you need to think about what workforce do you have. What are they doing? How efficiently are they working? How can things improve? How can you do something better? Or perhaps slightly more efficiently and cheaper, perhaps. So those are the sort of things which you would think about as a GP partner. So as a GP partner, you're essentially a business owner. And as you know, as doctors, we don't get any particular training about the business, which is quite ironic really. But I think it's important for us to know that if we are willing to go into the journey of GP partnership, then it's quite important that we need to, and I think it's important for us to know how to run a business as well. And that would obviously take a lot of effort, a lot of learning, and we will need to put those hours in. I've been a GP partner for 2.5 years, and I'm lucky that I've got a very good team of GP partners who help and support me, and I had a lot of learning to do, especially in the first year, which is usually the case in any sort of particular job, but I'm still learning. And obviously we learn all the time and from our experiences. Now obviously as an employer, you also need to think about the income and expenses and how to sort of make the best use of that so that your surgery is profitable, and it needs to be profitable for it to work for yourself and also for your patients as well. So we talked about the first role, which is clinical. So you have to see patients and do all the administration work which is related to that. That was the first role as a GP partner. Number two, very important role is to attend meetings at the local meeting, be it CCB, it's ICB now. And some of those meetings are compulsory, which you as a partner, or at least one of the partner, has to attend, and then some of those are optional. But there are certain meetings, I believe there are about 10, I think, in our locality, which you have to attend. And one of our partner normally goes to those meetings. And those meetings are essential because they are kind of strategic meeting with regards to local care needs, and we need to be aware of what the needs of the population are and how things are changing and how funding is changing, and that is really important part of how we run our practice. Number three, as a partner you have to be responsible for the administration of your staff, and as part of that is appraisal for the clinical as well as the non-clinical staff. So for the clinical staff is usually the clinician who do the appraisal. So as a GP partner, you'd be appraising your nurses, your pharmacist, your healthcare assistants, and anybody else who is working in the surgery, ANPs, ACPs, whoever that might be. So that's obviously one of the roles as a GP partner that you would undertake, and you have to look at their performance, their reviews, what they're doing good, what they're doing not so good, and how do you develop your workforce as well. So that's part of the GP partner role. Number four, you're also responsible for the future direction of the surgery. So hence, one of your roles as GP partners is to develop a sense of direction or a strategy for your practice, and you generally do that as part of a team, which usually comprises of GP partners and the management, i.e. practice manager, assistant practice manager. We at this practice where I'm working at the moment, we try to do this more on a sort of regular basis and on regular monthly meetings, but hopefully we will have some time in which all the partners will sit down and we'll have a sort of strategic meeting for the full year, and what direction are we going to take, and we'll have a full strategy of how we're going to work over the next 12 months or so, for example. Number five, one of your roles as a partner is to take a lead role in the practice, and we have various different lead roles. So one of our partners, for example, he's a clinical lead who attends the clinical leads meeting and disseminates all the information back to us in the practice, which is really important for us. One of our partners is safeguarding leads, and she attends the regular meetings, and she attends regular safeguarding meetings and obviously disseminates all the information back to us. We also have a cough and a PCN lead who works within our surgery as cough lead, and also within a group of surgeries which are part of our PCN. She works quite closely with them, and that also helps our surgery and brings the money into the practice as well, which is really important. In addition to this, we have education and training lead, which is myself. We also have a safeguarding lead, and there are some other roles as well which we share with other partners. So that's also part of your role as a GP partner. And next point is, as GP partners, since we are responsible for the delivery of the care, we also have to implement and plan how we're going to give that particular care. So for example, we had to plan about how to give our COVID vaccines. We also plan about how to give a flu vaccination every year. In addition to this, we also have a plan about how we deliver our childcare immunization, as well as the baby checks and the antenatal care as well. So that again is responsibility of the GP partners to deliver those services and how that service will be delivered in our particular surgery. So that is one of the roles of the GP partner as well. We also have a monthly partners meeting in which our practice manager also attends, and we make decisions about how to do things in particular. For example, implementation of different services and whatever the issues are in the day-to-day running of the practice, and we make decisions about that. So for example, in the last meeting which we had to decide about the uplift of the pay for our clinical as well as non-clinical staff because of the change in the minimum wage from the government, and what impact is that going to have on our practice. So we made decisions about that, and there are a few other things as well for which we needed to make decisions about. So for example, there's some DIY work which was required for the practice. There's also some work in the garden which needed to be done. We also needed some chairs in our clinical room which are wipeable, so that was another expense, so we made decisions about that. So that again is part of GP partner workload. In addition to these monthly meetings with the partners, we also have monthly meeting with the other services as well. So for example, we have a monthly clinical meeting in which we all get together as GP partners. We don't have particular salaried GPs at the moment, but we have ANPs, they attend the meeting, our clinical nurses attend the meeting, our GP trainings and physician associate, they attend this meeting. So it's purely a clinical meeting where all the clinical information we discuss important cases. We also discuss our learning from particular case, if something has been done well or not done so well. We also learn from each other's experiences. One of the partners who attends the clinical leads meeting, he also shares his and disseminates all that information back to us as well, which happens during that meeting. We also have a meeting with the district nurses where we discuss our palliative care patients and the care plans. So that's also part of GP partner workload. So this was just a tiny snapshot of all the roles and different hats we wear as GP partners, and there's much more to it. That this is just a snapshot. There are so many other different roles and things which we do as GPs as well. So if you want me to talk more in detail about that, please let me know in the comments below, and please like and subscribe to this channel, share the video with other colleagues, and I'll see you in the next video. Up until then, bye bye.